Okay, so where does that word vitamin come from in the first place? Well, as it turns out, when chemists first started looking for these molecules, they knew that they weren't sure why some people were showing up with certain diseases where their bones were weak or they had all kinds of skin issues going on. And they started looking for, something in the food that if certain people weren't eating a certain food, what could it be in the food that they were missing? And they figured out that it was a molecule that had an amine group on it, an amine functional group. They could do chemical analysis and see that whatever the structure was, they weren't sure. They knew it was a carbon-based organic molecule and it had an amine functional group. So they said, okay, there's some kind of vital amine that's important in the diet that if you don't get it, you're going to be sick. And so that's where the word vitamin came from. And the first one that was found was called vitamin. It was called vitamine B1. Because they had labeled test tubes and they were testing all these different fractions of extracts, and this was the particular fraction that cured the ailment of the people who were missing it, and they named it thiamine. Okay, so it's got two names, vitamin B1 and thiamine. They dropped the E off the word vitamin. Instead of vitamine, they just call it vitamin, because they realized that not all of these essential small molecules had amine groups. So it was a class of compounds that are not macronutrients, that are not minerals, but are important to have in small quantities in order to maintain good metabolic health. So that's why it was changed. But anyway, this one is the structure of it, and you can see the amine groups, all over the place. And the reason why it was called thiamine is because they also realized that it had a sulfur atom on it, and thiol is the organic prefix for having a sulfur group on your organic molecule. So that's where that word came from. It describes chemically how this particular vitamin is made up, and you can see it's clearly water soluble because of all the functional groups. Okay, and so there happened to be whoops, let me see here. This vitamin B1 was the first one that was discovered, but it's just one of the B complex vitamins. There's actually 8 B vitamins, and they're called B1, B1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 12. Okay, it doesn't go consecutively from 1 to 8. It's B1, B2, B3, B5, B6, B7. And they all also have names, just like B1 is thiamine. For example, B9 is also called folic acid. That's the one we looked at a second ago. Okay, so they have names, and they also have letter number designations. Anyway, the B complex vitamins in general are coenzymes, which means they work with enzymes. So an enzyme is a protein molecule, and these small organic molecules need to link up with the enzyme in order for the enzyme to function. All right, so you just need small amounts of enzymes. They work as catalysts in these biochemical reactions to help the reactions go. And then the B complex vitamins hook up with the enzymes to allow them to function properly. All right, and B1 in particular helps break down glucose to provide energy to cells. People that are lacking in vitamin B1 have neurological problems such as beriberi, which is mental confusion, weakness, wasting, edema, enlarged heart, and then eventually death. So they found that people that were suffering from beriberi, if they gave them thiamine, then they got better, actually. Everything, as long as they got to them soon enough, they would get better. And as it turns out, the reason why people got beriberi in the first place was because it was some people in Southeast Asia. They had started processing rice differently, where they cleaned up the rice and removed the hull from the outside of the rice. So, like brown rice, it's kind of like whole grain rice, and then white rice has been processed more. And as it turns out, vitamins, B complex vitamins, are found in the hull of grains. And so, for example, 100 grams of whole wheat flour contains 0.55 milligrams of thiamine, while 100 grams of white flour contains only 0.06 milligrams of thiamine. So in the United States, well, they figured out this problem, in like 100 years ago. So now in the U.S., when people are refining flour, they have to enrich the flour with B vitamins, such as thiamine mononitrate for B1, along with niacin, niacin is actually B3. Riboflavin is B2, folic acid B9, like I said, to replace those that are lost in processing. And the average person needs about 1.5 milligrams per day. So you can see if you're eating enriched bread or whole flour bread, you know, a couple, 3 slices of bread gives you all you need, but it's also found in a lot of other foods. So as long as you eat the foods that contain thiamine, you don't need supplements. You only need supplements if you're on a low-calorie diet because you need thiamine to help break down fat. So if you are eating a very, very low calories, like not a lot of carbs, where you would naturally get the thiamine, or cereals where the thiamine has been put back in, then you may have to take a supplement. So people who are eating the normal amount of calories that they need will be getting the normal amounts of B complex vitamins that they need. But if you're on a really, really restricted diet, you may have to take a supplement to make up for the difference, okay? And so it's really interesting, I think, how nature has evolved such that the coenzymes, the vitamins that you need to make use of the food that you're eating, are packaged together with the food. It's only when you go and start processing the food that you take out the natural vitamins that they have to be added back in to have a healthy diet.